Hi guys, I'm Igor. You might recognize me from such things as Handstands with Igor or Virtual Daily Training, Diving Canada's version, although I only did one episode so far. Today we're going to talk a little bit about backwards kickouts. And so coming up backwards, whether it's back 1.5, start with back dive, or back 1.5, back 2.5, back 3.5. The technique is the same for all of those things. We're going to go through a few little drills, things that you can work on at home to sort of better get your feel for how you're going to do it once you do it in the water. So, have you wondered why it is or how divers are able to stop a dive and go seemingly straight in? How they're able to be spinning really fast on a back 1.5 or 2.5, kick out and stop and go straight in? A lot of it has to do with the sequence of their kick out. And so when we go into these back kickouts and drills, pay attention to the sequence, because if you do the sequence always the same on a dive, a 1.5, a 2.5, a 3.5, make that automatic, starting with here, before you bring it further, it will serve you very well to becoming one of those idols that people are looking up to and asking, how do you control your back spinners so well? Back and reverse, obviously. If people like Daniela Jasinska are wondering why we're always telling her to look at her toes when she kicks out, this is also why. So I'm going to mainly speak about the tuck kick out and show you a couple different styles of doing the tuck kick out. I think maybe when we get to sets, you'll do 5 one style, 5 the other style. I think they're both useful and important. And then I won't go over it again for pike and closed pike, but you'll know you can do those same kinds of things. So when we're going for the tuck kick out, you're in your tuck position. Note how I'm grabbing pretty low on my shins, as tight in as I can be, a little bit of space between my knees. And the tuck kick out, we all have kind of gone over it before. You're gonna kick, hands stay on your legs as your head moves back to look, and then your hands go in one motion for the stretch. Hands touching the ground. Now, as I'm doing that, note that my back is actually squished into the ground. So my back is completely flat. My feet are just slightly off the ground. So again, I'm going to tuck, kick, back is squished, my back stays still, my feet stay still as I look, and one motion with my hands for the stretch. That's version 1. Version 2, the order is exactly the same, but you're going to see a slight difference in what I do with my body once I'm fully extended. Tuck, kick, look, stretch, and then I'm pushing my hips up, legs straight, so my hips are off the ground. Both of those have different purposes. Purpose of the first one with your back in, when you're rotating backwards or after you've come out, you do not want to arch at all. You want to keep your body as flat as possible, and so keeping your back squished flat into the mat or the ground keeps that line as you go and gives you that sense of not allowing yourself to arch at all. At the same time, you want all your muscles to be tight, so when you do the arch and lift up and kind of bridge, do a slight back bridge, you're forcing other muscles to be tight and your body to feel as straight as. Next, we'll take a look at your back dive pike. So for a back dive pike or reverse dive pike, you want to do this style where you touch and come out, move your head, and then your arms go, instead of coming through the front, you're going to go sideways, and you can do this touching the floor as you go. So a back dive pike or reverse dive pike, come out simulation, you're going to touch, flat, I like to have my back again flat, look, and then along the ground for that line up. For closed pike, it's kind of a combination of a tuck kick out and a dive pike. Obviously, you're in a pike position, so it's closer to the pike, but your arms do more similar to what you would do in a back tuck. So this would be for multiple spins in pike position. So pike position, first of all, I like to have the divers have their elbow grabbed. So we'll start in that same position, elbows grabbed, legs straight, come out with your hands on your legs, look, and then stretch. So pike, out, again flat, look, and then one move for the stretch. Hands touching the ground, lower back squeezing down, butt squeezed, nice tight position. So here's a little drill to make it a little bit more realistic, more like what it's going to feel like when you're doing your back dive tuck for the first time, or when you're kicking out of a back 1.5, because you're not going to kick flat straight. You want to kick just a little bit up and almost look where you're placing your feet. So here's the drill. You're going to kick up, put your feet on the wall, and try to kick to a spot where you can hold it and hold it still. I'm going to use the wall. You can use a couch, even better, maybe a partner that can catch your feet at exactly the right spot. But you're kicking up at an angle, and as you do that, notice where you put your hands and notice where you're looking. You want to be looking right at your toes. Okay, so it's going to look like this. Again, I know your parents are probably bored and don't have enough to do, so you want to have your feet probably dirty from being barefoot outside in the mud so that you can leave a nice little stain on the wall. So it's something to do, right? And clean up and kind of add to your daily routine. Nice and close to the wall, you're going to be in a nice little tuck or pike. As you roll back, kick and hold still as you place your feet to the right spot on the wall. Roll, boom. I'm looking at my toes, my hands are on my legs, ready for the next part. So I'm just going to briefly go over some of the why we do things the way we do in that kick out. And as I mentioned before, it's all about controlling the rotation. You want to give the illusion that you've stopped rotating and gone perfectly straight in, and give yourselves maximum control. The larger you are, the slower you rotate. The smaller you are, the faster you rotate. So when you're extended, you're going to rotate as slow as possible. But also there's another interesting thing you can do, and that is your body is continually rotating once you're in the air. The only thing that stops it is when you hit the water. But you can change rotation to elements of your body. So when you're in your tuck, you're spinning your fastest. I'm kicking out straight. So now my body is rotating continuously, the entire body at one speed. But if I now from here move just my head, everything else stays still, I actually transfer the rotation into my head. So it gives the illusion that the rotation is stopping because the rotation is now just in my head. As soon as my head stops, then my arms go. Now the rotation is in my hands and the rest of my body stays still. So when you watch some high-level divers doing a back dive or a 1.5 or a 2.5, you'll see them come out, their feet stop, and it looks like they're just holding still until they actually go in the water. That's because they are doing that sequence of transferring the rotation from the entire body, then it goes into their head, then into their arms. So this is why you want to do that sequence and then feel it as you're bringing it into a back dive to then perfection, and then a back 1.5, the same order, back 2.5, back 3.5. Obviously, the faster you're spinning, the faster you have to make the moves. So master it in dry land before taking it to the water, before going up to your back 3.5, 10 meter.